Good afternoon. This is 5 Minutes with Frank Kutsakria on day 3 after the Florida primary. I'm going to give you the 3 reasons why Adam Putnam and the 3 reasons why Gwen Graham are not your nominees. So, if this is the first time you're watching this, which is probably yes, since this is only my second video, like and subscribe because that is what you are supposed to do to these things apparently. So, I'm going to start with the easy one 3 reasons why Adam Putnam is not your nominee. The first reason is for an individual who says that he campaigned throughout the state, he avoided a very important part of it, South Florida. Now, it is no surprise that South Florida is the home of the most Democrats in the state of Florida. It is also the home of the most registered Republicans, at least in Miami-Dade, and a significant number in Broward and Palm Beach. It's a very expensive media market, and I understand why people don't want to spend down here. In fact, northern part of Palm Beach County is its own media market. And when you're down here, you got to pay for ads in Spanish and English. But by Adam Putnam not really campaigning down here, he set up a situation where Ron DeSantis could come in and capture all the little social groups and other groups that are around there, from the Miami Young Republicans to the Federated Women of Miami-Dade to a number of different groups. Ron DeSantis showed up. Adam Putnam didn't. Ron DeSantis won big. Now, Adam Putnam lost by 20 points, so ultimately this area didn't entirely give him his defeat. The second reason is Adam Putnam basically is Florida politics. Now, in this type of year that we are in, let's face it, the tap on the shoulder from Donald Trump helps, but Ron DeSantis was at 2%. He didn't get the full tap until July. Adam Putnam ran a traditional campaign, going to traditional areas where Republicans are going to be out there, and lived on his name for 22 years. He didn't get himself on Fox News. In fact, he ran against Fox News. He said that Ron DeSantis was the Fox News candidate. Well, guess what? Floridians now watch Fox News, and we watch it a lot. And when you're not on TV, Ron DeSantis was the guy, not Adam Putnam. And so while traditional Republican may have been like, hey, I'm Hunter Alderman for Adam, the more modern Republican was like, yeah, I'll take the guy that Trump likes, who I see every other day. The third reason why Adam Putnam lost is because, well, he took the absolute worst time to have every bad thing that could possibly happen to the agriculture candidate or agricultural representative happen to him. The bloom and the algae and just a bad time for him. He also picked the wrong year to be the most pro-NRA candidate in a year in which the shooting at Parkland had the adverse effect on Republicans. Republicans had to go for a very limited form of gun control. Talk about expanding the to 21 so we can get more armed teachers out there. And the NRA opposed it, and most Floridian politicians ended up going for it. But by Adam Putnam wrapping himself around the NRA, it ultimately killed him in the election. Now we're going to go to the harder one. Why did Gwen Graham lose? The first reason why is because sometimes when you sit on the sideline in a war, somebody else goes and takes the battlefield. Now in South Florida, again, it is the most expensive market, and you need to put ads in English and Spanish. And it's a giant market for the Democrats. It's even a bigger market for them. As we all know, Gwen Graham did not run an ad until the very last full week of the election. And the reason why is she wanted to let, I want to say Adam Levine, but she wanted to let Philip Levine, the mayor of Miami Beach, former, and Jeff Green fight it out to the death. And because she didn't put a ground game in here, and because she didn't actually spend any money here in English or Spanish until the last week, once she came out with an air war, votes had already been cast. And Mr. Gillum had already made enough inroads with enough smaller group organizations that as the bloodshed was going on between what most South Floridians thought were the two major candidates, they both destroyed each other. And instead of her picking up the pieces, it was Mr. Gillum. The second reason why she lost is that she didn't understand her poll lead. Now, a great philosopher by the name of Nelly had a song called Ones. And there's a lyric that says, "What does it take to be number one? Two is not a winner, and three nobody remembers." Now, when your whole strategy in South Florida is to tangle around at number three while the two top candidates for the area proceed to beat each other up, that is actually the worst spot to be. Historically, when a candidate's in third place, they go down to the bottom before they ever rise to the top. Now, Andrew Gillum, once Jeff Green was imploding, got to take those progressive voters who were looking for a third way and ran with it. And she was not there to pick up the pieces. So instead of attacking down and spending more money here to kill out Jeff Green, she took her time and let, again, Gillum rise through all of those progressives as Green fell apart. The third reason why Gwen Graham lost, and this is the biggest reason, as the only female candidate, she sounded kind of anti-female. The very first ad that aired, and this is something that I had brought up on my Twitter, was the fifth word out of the announcer's mouth, fifth through ninth words are Bob Graham's daughter, Gwen Graham. Now, quite frankly, when was the last time a Republican, then along a Democrat, ran explicitly under the passage of who their father, husband, brother, son is? It's very sexist, quite frankly, that you would run that. It's bad enough it's nepotistic, but would Jeb Bush run as, George Bush's brother or George H.W. Bush's son? No, you wouldn't vote for him. If one of the 1,000 Kennedys, you know that there's 1,000 Kennedys, but you don't say it's Eddie's, Teddy's kid or Robert's kid. No, you know it's a Kennedy name, but you don't really go out there and say, you should vote for Joe, Ted Kennedy's third son, twice removed. It just seems silly. And it was a horrible first ad. A first ad is introductory 3 months ago, not 37 hours before an election. It was piss poor. At the same time, Gillum's ad was very inspirational. Very, we're going to rise above. It put a bunch of shit that you can't do. Governors don't decide things like, eliminating ICE or immigration reform, or in Florida, we don't have income tax through them, but it was very inspirational, and it got asses in seats, and more importantly, it got people that went on church on Sundays through early voting to pick well. Green's dying. Levine is sort of, I'm going a third way. They're not thinking of Gwen Graham. They thought of him. That's why the margin of victory in Miami pretty much was the margin of defeat for Gwen Graham. You throw in Broward County, it wasn't even close. And it was because of, quite frankly, not knowing what to do. And, if you're going to say you're, Bob Graham's daughter, maybe listen to how he actually ran a campaign. Well, this has been way more than 5 minutes, but I did take two topics, so you're going to get about 9. Again, like and subscribe because that's what they tell you to do. And I'll see you around. Have a great day.